Okay, welcome to day 2 of A Model a Day in May. Today I'm going to be creating an Atari 2600 joystick from 1982, something like that. That was the year I was born. So I'm going to try and make this video a lot faster than yesterday's video. Yesterday's video just kind of went on and on and on and on and on. So today I'm just going to try and create it a little bit faster. I'm going to create it at kind of weird scale. I've measured the actual joystick itself and it's 87 millimeters wide, but I'm actually going to do this at 87 centimeters wide just because it makes doing the bevels and things like that a little bit easier. So I'm just going to jump into solid mode and X-ray mode, and I'm going to start lining things up. So I'm going to start by lining up the reference images here. So I'm going to get this as close to the middle as I can. And then I'm going to scale this. I'm going to scale based on the 3D cursor because that's already in the position I want it to be. And we can just scale this until this basically fits our reference image. So we know this is at the right scale now. And I just want to duplicate that. Shift D. Rotate it 90 degrees in X axis. Screencast keys, again, not showing up. Not sure why. Really need to find a better version of screencast keys because this one is not doing it for me. Let's get this into place, zoom in a little bit and just see what we're doing. I do want to point out before I go any further that this background image is not exactly perfect. I'm going to bring up something in just a second to show you. I'm going to first of all jump into my restriction toggles here and toggle the background images so they don't show up in renders and they don't allow me to select them. That just makes everything else a little bit easier. Get rid of this box just now. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to replace my outliner with a reference image, and that way you can see exactly what I'm actually trying to achieve. So let's just open that up in here. Okay, so this is a joypad that I'm actually working on, or joystick, I should say. And a couple of things I just want to point out is this bevel here, or this little inset and then extruding bevel, it's pretty different than what's actually in the image and on the joypad that I've actually got in front of me. And the same with this as well. It's the same general shape, but this is not quite as big. It's actually maybe about a third of that size, as you can see there. Everything else is actually pretty accurate. The height of this, which is this area here, the button and things like that, that's all pretty good. The height of this, I'm just going to eyeball it. A lot of this stuff I'm going to actually eyeball. I'm really just using this background image for the general size of the shapes. I'm also going to create some of this as separate objects, even though it's actually one solid piece. And the reason for that is just to make it a little bit faster to do. So let's just go ahead and create a cube. And we'll get this first part done. So I'm just going to create this first part here. In fact, let's move this all the way up to this part here. And then I'm going to inset it a little bit. So about a third of the way from what it actually says we should do it. In fact, scale that up even more. Then we're going to extrude that down to the bottom and scale this in. Okay, so that's a little bit better. I think this should actually have more of an angle on it, so I'm just going to grab a couple of these lines. What I do want to do is turn this back to median point and scale that down just a little bit. I think that's more of the angle I'm looking for. And we'll move this down. So I'm going to move this to this point, which is this little edge here. It goes all the way around. It's two separate parts, remember. I'm going to move this up to the top. And let's grab this edge, Alt select, I'm going to bevel this, create this separation. I'm going to maybe go a little bit further than it should be. Extrude along normals. Just grab the live tool, extrude that in a little bit. Let's just grab this top face. I do want to move this down just a little bit, extrude that out, and then scale it down and get this angle. And it's about a 30-degree angle or so, which is about that. Let's jump back from X-ray mode and have a look at the basic shape we've got there. And that's pretty much right. We do have to add in some bevels and things like that, so let's go back to select mode. Also edges, grab these edges at the side. And I'm going to bevel these. I'm going to do this in the top view. Control B for bevel. So I want to grab this until we start getting a curve on our background image, which is around about there. And we want to, I'm going to use percent for this, and the reason for that is if we use percent, we actually get a slight taper towards the lower parts in this case. If we use something like offset, we actually get these parallel lines, and I think it's the same for width, we get the parallel lines, but in percent, you can actually see we get some taper. I'm going to do 7 segments here, not for any particular reason really, other than the fact that if we have 7 edges in here, and then one on the end, that gives us 36 all around the model. And you know, if you know anything about computers, anything that divides by 8 is like the magic computer numbers. Probably doesn't make any difference in this case, but we might as well use that. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a couple of other little bevels. First one is going to be on the bottom here, all the way around. Let's just look at this in the side view. I'm going to bevel this. Now, as you can see, the bevel here is not working in percent. We're going to go to offset in this case. And we don't need as many segments. I'm just going to do like 3 segments. So let's see, what do we want that to be? Maybe about there. I don't want it to be too subtle, because then there's not really point doing it. Everything else in here, I think I'm going to just do with a bevel modifier, just to give it a little highlight on the edges. I think that's about it. There's nothing else I think I want to bevel on that. So that's essentially that part done. I'm just going to shade it smooth. I'll just jump across to normals and turn on auto smooth, and you can see that we get a nice shape there. So everything is looking pretty good. We're losing definition on that, so I'm just going to tweak this angle a little bit. So we bring that back. There we go. So we get that sharp edge. In case you're wondering why this has got kind of highlight edge, that's just some of the settings in here, shadow, cavity, and things like that set up. It just gives you a slightly better idea of what your geometry is going to look like when you have those little bevels in there, because it does give you that little highlight. Not a realistic highlighter by any means, but just gives you an idea of what's happening. So I think at the moment what we can do is we can just hide this. So I'm just going to hit H and hide that. Next we're going to work on this little circular part with the extruded kind of circular part and the button. Again, this reference image is not the perfect reference image. You can see the button here is much too big compared to that. The button is much smaller, but it's a good start. So let's go with the cylinder. We are just going to jump into edit mode, scale this down, get the general shape. I'm going to create 2 circles to start with. I'll go to transparent mode so we can see what we're doing. I'm just going to grab this top face, move this into place. So like I said, I don't think the height here is actually correct. I think it's probably about 1/3 of the height that it tells us we've got. I'm actually going to create this kind of inset into the original object, just to make things a little bit easier in the long run. Let's inset this down using I. I'm going to take it to this edge here. And we're going to adjust things in a moment. What I do want to do is I want to add in an edge here and here, and I'll show you why in just a moment. In fact, what we can maybe do first is we can maybe just do the other object first and then do it all together. So we have our second object, edit mode again, scale this down, move this over here, try and get it in the middle, scale it down again, and then we'll just adjust this. So this is maybe a little bit too high poly compared to the other part. Could have maybe taken down the number of verts on this, but that doesn't really matter too much. Now let's just line these up. So again, I'm just going to make sure my snaps are on vertex. And we can move this up in Z and snap it to the top here. Grab this one, move it up in Z, snap it to the bottom. Now we have those two objects perfectly intertwined. Now at this point you might be thinking, oh, you're probably just going to boolean these together. Honestly, I'm not a massive fan of doing booleans when you can just kind of figure things out on your own. So that's what I'm going to do. Before I go any further, I do want to extrude in the area for the button. Now I said that this shape here is not the right shape, it's not the right size for this, so I'm going to go just past that to about here. And I'm going to extrude that down. I'm just going to extrude it to about there. Okay, next thing, what are we going to do? Well, everything that's kind of inside here, all these faces on the inside, I'm going to get rid of. Be careful we don't go too far, so we don't want that one. Hit X and delete those faces. And I'm just going to zoom in, edit mode. I'm going to use box select, and I'm just going to move this. This isn't exact, but it's actually pretty close to what we have. Just make sure this is deselected. We just want that to intersect with this area. And I'm going to select this vert and this vert. Now we're in box select mode, so that's not really letting us select the way we want. Let's try that again. Select the correct vert, hit J, just create an edge across there. Okay, so that's actually pretty weird, it's kind of selected the wrong ones. Let's try that again, hit J, there we go, that's the edge we want. And I'm just going to delete off these faces. Everything underneath here I'm not going to worry about because it's not going to be seen. And you should never really spend too much time modeling something that's never going to be seen. Again, I'm going to take these edges here, join those up. That's just one big face this time. We can delete that off. And now we can go into this other object and kind of do the same on this one. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to grab an edge loop, just move that over to there. Grab another edge loop here, move that over. I'm going to grab all these faces inside, not that one. And delete those off. Grab a vert here, here, join them up again. And again, just delete off these faces. Do the same on the bottom. Again, we're not going to see what's on the bottom there, so we could, in theory, just leave it, but might as well try and fix it. Okay, object mode. So we have this selected. We want to select them both. Control J to join them together. Go to edit mode. And now we have single objects. We have some issues with the topography here because they don't really match. So we're going to try our best to kind of join these together. Just going to use circle select and grab those vertices that really have to kind of join together. Grab those, Alt M, merge at distance. We want to increase this so it says remove 4. There we go, remove 4 at the bottom. And now we know we're kind of joined together. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to take all the verts on this side and all the verts on this side and kind of join them together. So again, we can just do some of these manually at center. I think something weird is going on at the bottom of this object. We don't have any faces on the bottom, but you know what? That is not a problem. Again, we're not going to see them. So in theory, we could actually even just get rid of this edge as well, I think. Yeah, we can just remove that. We do have an opening across here, so we do need to start welding some verts together. I'm going to select these three, and I'm going to merge at center. I'm going to select this and this, and merge at center. Merge at center. This one here, Yeah, we'll merge that there as well. Now, in theory, this should all be one solid object. So if we get a line and we try and select this line here and here, we should be able to bevel this now. Yeah, and that's given us the correct kind of bevel that we want. So it's a good job that we checked that out. We might have some issues going around here when we bevel it. Like, for example, here and here. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of skew in there, but I think it's going to be, I don't think we're going to notice it too much. So let's jump back into solid mode. Let's just by eye extrude this down a little bit. Going to scale it just a little bit to give it a little bit of an edge, and then we're going to inset it in. And yes, we should probably look in the top view to see what we're doing here. So that's actually about right. Scale it down just a little bit. And this is actually where this is going to extrude down and the other part's going to be in. We could delete this, but I think I'll just leave that where it is. Okay, that's fine. What I do want to do is I want to select this, and we are going to inset this a little bit. Then I'm going to hit P and separate by selection. The reason for that is I want this button, which is going to be this object, to be a separate object. I'm going to select that. I'm going to extrude this up. Let's turn off X-ray mode again. Have a look in our view. Select this top face again. Maybe move that down just a little bit. And we want to get the kind of profile of this. So I'm just going to inset this to about there. Add a bunch of edge loops. Select this center face. We're going to do proportional editing. I think we'll do sphere. And then we're going to move this down in Z, roll the mouse wheel. And what we want to do is we want to just roll the mouse wheel enough to get this nice little curve. So about there. It's maybe a little bit deep, but I don't mind exaggerating it a little bit. And then we're going to do a little bevel here. We think we want to set this to, no, maybe not %. Now I've got a funny feeling the reason this bevel is not working the way I want it to is because this object needs to have its rotation and scale set. Go back to edit mode again, bevel this again, try offset. Yeah, that's much better. That seems more even than it was before. Back to solid mode, smooth shade that. And there we go, there's our nice little button. We might as well smooth shade this as well. Get our auto smooth on this particular object. And let's unhide everything, Alt H. Okay, so what we do need to do is we need to go to edit mode on this. Grab this top face. We need to inset this. Now, I don't think I have the loop tools turned on in this. I'm just going to double check, see if we have loop tools. No, we don't have loop tools, so I'm going to enable loop tools, and the reason for that is there's a really cool tool within loop tools called Circle. I think this is actually the first time I've tried to use loop tools since I moved over to 2.8. No, that's not really doing what we want. Let's undo that a second. Let's inset this just a little bit and hit circle again. Let's deselect everything. Circle select these. Move these into the middle. We want... actually, do you know what? I think I just figured out. Why that wasn't working. Circle. Rotate. We had proportional editing on. And that's why it wasn't working, because when I was rotating it, it was basically tearing up the whole mesh. So let's extrude this down. There we go. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Most professionals would cut all the nonsense I was talking out there, but I'm not a professional. So let's go in and do these little bevels. So I'm just going to grab these edges all the way around here and here. Let's just grab these ones as well. And we're just going to give these a little bevel, nothing too crazy, just actually a chamfer. So the difference between a chamfer and a bevel is a chamfer is just a flat angle, and a bevel is a kind of curve. And we'll do this one as well. There we go. So it just picks up a little highlight. Okay, so that's basically 2/3 of this model completed. We need to do this top part now. So this is going to be interesting. When it comes to these hexagon shapes that convert straight into circular shapes, you have to think about stuff in advance, because you've got a 6-sided shape here, and you've got a, who knows how many sided, certainly not 6, because then it's going to be a hexagon. I would say probably 36 at least. In fact, did we do 64 for this part? I think we actually did 36 for that part. So we'll just do 36 again. So let's just go to add cylinder. We did 32, so that's good. That's good that we checked that, because we want that to be 36. Let's take this down. Now this starts basically right at this edge and comes up. So we'll just leave the tiniest of tiny little gaps. Let's get this depth. We'll worry about what's happening underneath in just a moment. At the moment, what we want to do is we want to look at this topology. So I can't really see, but I think this goes up, then it lips round. I'm actually going to grab my own joypad and have a little look. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the top view. In fact, that's going to annoy me if I don't fix this just now. Move this up inside. Okay, top view, transparent mode. Let's get these insets done first. We're going to inset to there. We're going to inset to there. No, that can't be right, because we need more insets than that. Let's inset this to where this starts. Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to eyeball this, because this reference image has been wrong every single time. So let's bevel these edges. Give this a little gap in between. Should be about right. Okay, so I'm going to turn off X-ray modes, because again I'm not going to pay attention to the background anymore. What I do want to do is I want to extrude up these faces, so I'm going to hold Control and kind of click as I go round, grab all those faces, do a little extrude. I'm going to do the same here, all the way around. I'm going to do a slightly bigger extrude. Now going to grab this face and just increase that selection a little bit and move it up a little bit. Then grab all these to make sure we don't go too far around. Extrude that up a little bit. Let's look at the side view and see what's happening here. So it's telling us we're pretty far off, but don't particularly buy it. Alt is selecting that whole face, which is awesome. I'm going to take that up to about there, because we're going to extrude this up a little bit more. This one we will need to... Alt is not working on this one. Oh, it worked that time. I'm going to take that up again to about halfway on this one, and we'll do the same on this one. Take that up to halfway on this one. So this is saying that we actually have 4 of these, but pretty clear we actually have 3, and then this part is just a chamfer that goes from circular to hexagonal. So a little bit weird. Okay, so how am I going to create this smooth curve at the top? A couple of ways we can do it. We'll do a couple of different ways, I guess, and you can decide, you can decide which one you like the best. I'm going to do this one using proportional editing again. So I'm just going to increase my mouse wheel until the outside edge kind of doesn't move. And we can just try and get this kind of circular. This isn't like a massive detail, so I'm not too worried about it. We'll do that same thing again. Take that in the middle. Move this up. Have to make sure we're only moving in B. Okay, and that's fine. This time we'll do something slightly different. We'll select those two edges. We'll extrude a little bit to the height that we would probably want. We'll grab this edge and grab this edge, and we'll bevel it. Like add in the edges that we want. Now this one's kind of weird because we probably want to have these middle lines overlapping again. So we'll go to that and we'll just merge by distance again and reduce this down until it just snaps. Don't know if we're going to be able to get. Yeah, that's that. That's actually right there, 36 Hz. So that's pretty much the same. Now, I know they look all kind of different and stuff and they don't look amazing, but I think if we go to object mode and we shade smooth, get our auto smooth set to the correct level. Yeah, it's kind of weird. That is kind of weird, but who knows? Maybe we can fix this. What I should have probably done is do them all at once to get them even. That's not too bad. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's actually not that accurate. But the video's getting long. Kinda want to get this done. Let's move this up to about here. We want to inset this in a little bit. Extrude this up to maybe about here. Yeah, why not? And then we want to inset this down. So let's look in the top view. We will go back to transparent mode. We can kind of see in the background what's happening here. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. Now what we want to do is we want to make this a hexagon. So this is the tricky part. I'm going to grab some of these verts. What we need is we need 6 of these. Now I just have to do a quick calculation here, and you'll see why in just a moment. We're going to take 360. We're going to divide it by 6. That gives us 60 degrees. No, sorry. No, we're taking 360 and dividing it by 36. In fact, you know what we're doing? We're doing rotating on Z by 5 degrees. Okay, weird. Oh, now, do you know what I just realised? I just realised that this whole part here that's supposed to be a separate object is connected, so we're just going to separate by selection. Go back to object mode, select this object, go to edit mode, select all, rotate by 5 degrees, and Z. So the reason I'm doing that is so I have a flat line at the top here. So now I can grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 verts, and I can scale them by 0 on the y-axis. That gives me a straight line. I can do the same on the bottom. Scale by 0, y-axis. Hope this is going to work. I'm actually starting to have my doubts how this is going to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, something is definitely weird here. No, I know exactly what's happened here. So again, a professional would probably cut this out. But I'm counting verts, I should be counting faces or edges. So we want these edges. Scale 0, y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Scale 0, y-axis. Okay, whole thing. Rotate 60 degrees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a tricky bit. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to scale 0, y-axis. And then I'm going to move on the y-axis and snap to this point. I'm going to do the same down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Scale 0, y-axis. Move it on the y-axis, snap to there. Select the whole thing again. Rotate 60 degrees. Grab just 4 faces this time. Scale y-axis 0. Now, hopefully, this is going to line up. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. I can just manually tweak that in just a moment. Scale 0, y-axis. Move this up, snap to here. Okay, so yeah, we do have a little bit. We have this a little bit off, but we should be able to just manually tweak this. Y-axis, holding shift to try and get that into place. So essentially we've changed a circle into what should be a more or less perfect hexagon. I'm going to grab it. I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller. And then we'll go into our side view and we're going to extrude that all the way to the top. Now, looking at the one I've got in front of me, it does taper to the top just slightly, not by much, but maybe about that much. Let's see, what do we want to do? We want to just make sure it's smooth shaded. We have it smooth shaded. And that's basically it. We do have all these markings to do, but the video is getting pretty long. Let's see. How complex are these markings? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Top. Do you know what? Maybe we'll leave those markings because I've got a funny idea. We're going to come back to the Atari and maybe do other components for the Atari later on in this this series. Maybe do the Atari itself. Maybe do a cartridge or two. Maybe an old style TV. There's a couple of things we might do. Oh, I do want to just tweak something here. I'm going to grab this and move this up. So we can get a little angle, and I'm also going to give it a little bevel so it picks up the light, or a little chamfer so it picks up the light. Same here. Okay, what else do we need to do? I'm going to grab this, and I'm actually going to do that. Inset that. Should I bevel it? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab an edge here, and I'm going to grab this face all the way around, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit, and I'm going to grab this whole thing and scale it up just to that edge, and then I think I'm just going to move it down a little bit. Now I have to say I'm still not 100% happy with the shapes here, but I did get to show a couple of different ways of doing it, so you know, I don't mind too much. I'm just going to add this in here so it's a little bit more even. Yeah, I don't think there's much else I really want to do. If we look on the stick, we do have these lines going up the end, and we do have a little chamfer on the top, so we could do that. Let's do that. I'll show you a quick way of doing that. We can do an edge slide. So there's not actually a hotkey set up for edge slide. I actually set up my own. I use Control-Shift-E for it because I do tend to use it quite a lot. So Control-Shift-E, just slide this across. So I'm just grabbing this edge, and you can see this doesn't really affect the model too much. These lines being on a flat plane really don't do anything. And again, I'm just eyeballing this. The chances of someone going in and really getting up close to this and trying to see if there's any issues are really small, so I don't really mind there being imperfections in models. Life has imperfections. If your models are too perfect, that's usually a telltale sign that it's CG. Of course, there's other ways we could do this technique. We could be beveling edges and doing stuff like that. But I think that's actually okay. What I do want to do now is go to the top view. Actually, do I want to go to the top view? No, I'm going to grab... there we go. I knew I'd missed one. I was counting as I was going along there. I figured I just miscounted because I was talking. Just grab all those corner verts. Go into the top view. And I'm just going to scale these in. That creates that little tweak. Now, okay, so the issue I had there was I scaled that in, but I never locked it to the Z-axis, so if I use Shift-Z, that locks it to the XY plane. And that's what I want there. Okay, so this part here, I'm going to inset. I am going to switch to vert mode. I'm going to merge by distance again, and I'm going to increase this till it snaps back to a hexagon. And it's not doing it the way I want it to do, so I'm going to have to do this manually, which is kind of annoying. So what I want to do is select the two external ones and then the inner one and merge it last, because I know the middle one is kind of like a perfect hexagon. Let's just keep going. Okay. Just go to the top view here. Let's move these in Y. Just snap them into place. Now, this was supposed to be a fast video today, and it's turned out to be a long one. I guess I just like modeling kind of more complex stuff. Or maybe I'm just a slow modeler, or maybe I'm fast at modeling, but I'm just picking hard objects, who knows. What we want to do is we want to move this up, maybe scale it up a little bit. And we want to extrude it and inset it. No, we don't want to inset it, we want to scale it down. I'm going to look at this from the side view because we kind of want this to continue in the same kind of angle. So I like that, more or less, I think. Yeah, and I think that is actually about right. We will just give that just the tiniest little bevel. And I don't like leaving this big hexagon on the top, so I'm going to inset this down once, inset it again, vert mode, merge it center, just to not tidy it up as such, but just not leave that on top. Okay, and that's basically the main kind of main part of that joypad done. I did say I was going to add some bevels to it. I'm not sure if these bevels are going to actually work the way I want them to, but we'll see. We're going to limit by angle. Angle 20, I think. And let's just increase this offset to the level we want. So I'm having an issue with these because I only want about that much. Yeah, 3 segments. Maybe. Yeah, nah, 20 is fine. Okay. This one I'm not going to worry about. This one I will try and add in a bevel, but I've got a funny feeling it's not going to let me really bevel at all, or not as accurately as I want it to. Again, 2 segments, I think. yeah, it's barely making any difference, so we'll just remove that. Okay, so that's basically the model. Let's just quickly do some shading on it. Let's go to Eevee. We've got kind of studio set up here. So this is the button, so this is going to be red plastic. Base material red. It's not metal, it's fairly glossy. Okay, this is going to be rough plastic. Base color, never put it all the way to black. Black is not black in real life. Black is dark grey in real life. We can tweak the roughness. We want it to be fairly rough, but the roughness mostly comes from the fact that it's really bumpy. So we're going to do that with a map. We're going to do that with a noise texture. We're going to plug in our mapping nodes. We're going to plug the factor into a bump map. So vector bump, factor into the height, normal into the normal. Let's see, so that is the noise that we've got just now. We want to take that scale and bump that up so we get that kind of... We've lost our reference material. Okay, so I think the scale of that needs to be a little bit higher. Let's take that to about 300. Yeah, I can live with that. That's not too bad. Strength, always taking that strength down. Always seems to be too high. 0.25. 0.25, there we go. Detail, not making too much difference. Take it all the way down, I think, for this particular one. Okay. Black plastic this time. Again, black is not black, black is dark grey. The roughness on this we want to be less rough. And yeah, I kind of don't want to tweak it too much. This last part here, this is the kind of rubbery plastic, where at the bottom it's a lot shinier than it is at the top. We'll just call it shiny plastic, just so we know what we're doing. Take that to there, roughness a lot lower this time. Okay, and let's try and get a render out of this. So we do need to add in a camera. As all Blender professionals know, the first thing you do when you open Blender is delete the camera and the light. And you're going to hear that from me every single day. And it's not true, by the way. The first thing every Blender artist does is not delete the camera and the light. Again, we're doing something that's kind of square, and we've got 1080 here, so we'll just take that to 1080 as well. There we go. What camera to view, and we'll do a render. See what we get. Okay, pretty uninspiring render there. Let's bump up some of these effects. Ambient occlusion, bloom, screen space reflections, turned all the way up. Let's see. Shadows, high bit depth, soft shadows. 2K, 2K. We don't have a light in the scene, we're doing all HDRI, and the HDRI is kind of boring. But we'll see how that compares this time. Yeah, you know, it's still a really boring render. Yeah, but I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole again of, you know, doing a whole compositing thing. We're not going to do that every day, because if we do, all the videos are going to be like 5 hours long. Let's try this one. A little bit more interesting. Bump up the light. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Again, obviously, if I was doing this on my own, this would be, I'd be spending so much time getting every single angle of every single bevel perfect, exactly the way I want it. All these bits, I wouldn't have just kind of rushed through those quite as fast as I did. I would definitely have all these little dots in. But do you know what? That's not terrible for, I don't even know how long this video is, an hour? Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm going to finish up these little bits here for the YouTube render. Or the final render. I'll maybe add in a little bit at the end of the video just to show you what I came up with. But that's pretty much it over. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll be doing another video. We'll be doing this the whole month. There's no prompts. Just model whatever you want. Just get in there and model something. You have to get in there and model something. So, right, I'll see you on the flip-flop.